It appears that petrol scarcity, also known as premium motor spirits, may linger longer than we anticipated. The scourge, which is now spreading across Ogun and Ekiti states, among others, including Lagos and Abuja, has caused oil marketers to worry about the sustenance of the subsidy regime by the federal government. Reacting to the lingering scarcity, the National Public Relations Officer of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Ukadike Chinedu, said the situation was due to various factors, including reduced purchasing power of oil dealers due to a 163 naira per litre hike in the cost of renting daughter vessel to move from products from mother vessel, and drop in petrol supply by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the inability to access foreign exchange at the official rates, and continued subsidy on PMS, among others. It's biting harder in Lagos now. And
yes.
when this
you
system
know why it's in Abuja, buying petrol from black marketers is already like a way of life.
It's a permanent feature.
In fact, when
City
you go
centers,
to
you see
places,
people carrying kegs.
you go to the suburbs of Abuja, some of the satellite towns, you see women are even the ones selling it. You know? Just getting outside of Karu, for example, in Abuja, you see women. They are the ones who line the street selling petrol in jerry cans. Women in the Karu area. In Lagos, these black marketers are not common. So there are times when you are even stuck. Maybe you thought you could find a filling station that will be selling
And
petrol.
you're running very low.
You are running low.
Extremely low.
You just discover that
Anytime from now.
nobody is selling petrol. Yesterday, I drove from Island to Akute. There was not a single filling station selling petrol. And I was running low. So, I was like, what is going on?
That if you
At
see
that point,
black market, you can
at
buy.
that point, if I saw black market,
Patronize it.
nobody would tell me
Yes,
before
and you buy
I call
at any
them,
rate.
and I will ask, what's your price? I'll name your price, I will buy. In Abuja, you see them everywhere. In Lagos, it's difficult to see a black marketer, which is what makes it even all the more painful to our people. The black marketers, they are patronized largely by bus drivers. It's their own daily work. They have to put their buses on the road and make money. And for that reason, they must find a way to get petrol by all means possible. Now, what they are saying, this one, they are saying 163% hike in the cost of renting daughter vessels. Now, these daughter vessels are the vessels that they use to put the product. When they are offloading from the big vessels, the tankers that bring in petrol from outside our country, the smaller vessels like daughter vessels are the ones that they discharge the product into before then going to tank farms to discharge them. So they're saying now that, and I suspect it's because of the slide in the value of our currency, that the cost of renting that daughter vessel has gone up by 163%. Now the point is, who then bears the brunt? Because you have not, in the recent pricing template that you came up with, you didn't include this.
All this.
So it means that the marketer has to bear the brunt. So these people continue to bear the brunt, and they are finding it difficult to survive. The cost of now they do their job, they also need some foreign exchange. And to get foreign exchange from official channels is extremely difficult. So all of these extra costs that are coming into making petrol accessible for our people is what is driving marketers wild. They don't know who will pay us for this. So even at the current price, it is not sustainable for them. It is not competitive for these people. This is not the kind of pricing that they are encouraged to continue to do the business with. Some marketers are ready to sell, but they want to make sure that they add some money. If you see a filling station selling where they are selling petrol and there are not many people, it is because they have. There was one today that was selling for 230 naira per liter. I won't mention where. Of course, the queue was not long there. It's you that you can afford that you move in. Move in and buy 230 per liter, 230 per liter.
230 per liter.
Yes. So many people feel, this is too high.
Some
now,
people in Lagos,
some get it,
buy it.
Some get it from depot owners at 205 naira per liter, which is already above the pump price. You see, so how do they make their money
So
if they do not?
It's not realistic again.
The big problem also is that even supply has gone down. NNPC had not admitted this to us. But talk to anybody among these marketers, they will tell you that supply has gone down. Many depot owners don't have petrol. I've been saying it before that, look, you can only hoard in a season of inadequacy. If everybody has it, you will ask, how can you hoard? Even if people decide on you that you want to hoard, you find others who start opening one by one because you have to survive. But you can hoard when there is scarcity. I've seen people that some filling stations, they discharge fuel, but they refuse to sell. Everybody is waiting, trying to see how much are we going to sell it next week. How much are we? So they don't want to. It's just like the dollar thing. People are just being patient. Let us see. But definitely there is crisis in the sector, and it is a massive shame, big shame, that one of the 7 biggest producers of crude oil in the world will be facing this kind of problem.
Challenge.
I mean, it's just terrible.
Well, ultimately, people will even be forced to buy it as much as 300 naira if you make it available. Because they are tired. People are just so frustrated, spending man hours in filling stations.
I think we are dealing with a recurrent problem that has lasted for decades, and we seem not to have a solution. Just like Babagide said, the cost increased to higher what they call daughter vessel to mother vessel. The smaller one, then to the bigger one. Then from mother vessel to the PDOs in Warri, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. It has gone up from $38,000 to around $108,000 to $111,000. And they have to pay in dollars. That's one excuse they are giving to us. But the other problem also is the hike in the landing cost of per liter, which is not about 450 naira. But in all, I'm happy that the NNPC was able to agree that, look, long-term solution is for us to refine what to produce here. I mean, it's so funny that since 1999, we can't resolve this problem of having our own refinery. Things that were even built years back, at a point. We had a refinery in Warri, had one in Kaduna, had one in the Port Harcourt. So if the government could build these refineries in those years, how come that since 1999, that we are a democratic government, we cannot just build one refinery? And also there's a problem of corruption that we seem not to be addressing. If you look at the various committees set up by the House of Rep, the one that was supposed to probe oil subsidy between 2009 to 2011, and the recent one,
I've not seen the light of day.
The first one came out with reports talking about corruption. This last committee said that there are 23 companies that they could not even trace, the owners of this company, the roots of this company. So the problem of corruption, as long as we have corruption in the system, we just keep on passing the ball from one table to the other. If you don't address the problem of corruption, even when you continue to subsidize petroleum products, we are not going to go anywhere. And it's so unfortunate that for a government that is going to have an election next year, I don't think we should allow this kind of thing to linger. I hope they will be able to find a solution before Christmas, that people are, compelled by tradition to travel. And if the price, you now discover that you need to pay about 300 increase in fare to your village for Christmas, and you need to go for Christmas. So you can imagine the impact that will have on the majority of Nigerians. It's a lingering problem that we have inherited since 2003. But I think that it's time we need to be looking for a permanent solution to build refineries so that we can refine those products here. For me, I think that is the long-term solution we should begin to think about. And I'm happy with the Dangote refinery. I believe that by the time it comes up, things will begin to look better.
I'm worried for our country and our capacity to maintain public infrastructure. The oldest operating refinery in the world was opened for business on 11th December 1901. They are still using it. It's in India. They are still using it.
This is not a function of age.
Yes. 1901
Maintenance.
is maintenance. When were refineries built?
More than 100 years.
Even the Cardinal refinery that was built in 1980, we are still grappling with it. Our most modern refinery is the one in Warri. We are grappling with it. What's going on? Our people are just suffering. Why should God bless us so much with petrol, with gas, yet we continue to struggle, we continue to suffer? Because
our people are poorer.
You even ask, is it a cause? Is petrol a cause
I'm telling you.
on us as a people?
I'm telling you.
Because what we should take seriously, because petrol has come, agriculture, for example, we neglected agriculture for so long. Everybody was looking
negative impact
for
in the
cheap
Niger
money.
Delta. You know,
Cheap
say, what
money.
has oil done for these people?
I mean, it's unfortunate. There's no reason in the world for us to be going through fuel scarcity.
Yeah.
Countries that do not produce 1 liter of crude oil, they don't have this problem.
At all.
Countries that rely on other countries for petrol, they don't have the problem that we have. We have refineries. We allow those refineries to be decrepit. They are literally dead. We are wasting money on them. They are not refining a drop of petrol. Now we are forced to rely on importation. And even that, we have not managed that one very well. The oil sector
Can't account for it.
when you are talking about the oil sector, what comes to people's mind is the mind-boggling corruption that takes place there.
What you are importing, you can't even
Not
account
the
for it.
value,
You don't know
not the value that they add to the lives of Nigerians.
consume.
We can't even agree on how much we are consuming.
Yeah.
We can't. You read what the Customs Controller General said the other day, that what is going on? That this thing is not true. So are you saying that the person who filled his tank today, the next day is filling the tank of the same car? I mean, the man said, no, this is not believable. If you are saying that, the level of smuggling is so huge and so number of tankers, he said, which road are those tankers passing through? You can't tell me that even smuggling is at that level. It's just an opportunity to just steal money. It's unfortunate. This has to be investigated thoroughly for us to even come out. Look, I'm convinced that even the subsidy bill, it is still possible to even sustain subsidy up to a point. If it is actually what we are consuming, that they are telling us we are consuming.
Group of people.
That is the thing. Because look at the subsidy bill during the Jonathan years and compare to what it is now. The difference is like night and day. If it is at a manageable level, perhaps we can even still sustain the subsidy regime for some time. Because let's face it, if petrol goes to almost 400 naira per liter for our people, Given the current energy levels that we find ourselves, we want to sleep, there's no light and all that, our people will be in serious trouble. Transportation costs
Honestly,
will
everything
go
is
up. And we must
skyrocketing.
move around. Whether we like it or not, we must move around. So I just hope that even they are warning that this thing will extend to January does not, because the pain is already
The
unbearable at
government
this
should
stage.
intervene before that time. Wale.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope something should be done very honestly, swiftly, and decisively. You know, it's bad news for us to hear that it's going to last till January. You know, I hope they will do something before then.
All right. And finally, it is without a doubt or a call for oratory that Nigeria's economy is on fast free fall. As such, any further policy that will bite harder the lives of Nigerians will not be accepted. The carbonated soft drinks and subsector of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has rejected the proposed 20% tax increase on an already 10% tax per litre on non-alcoholic drinks. According to MAN, the proposed tax will kill the carbonated soft drinks subsector. In a counter-argument, the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed Page, says the policy is to discourage excessive consumption of sugar in beverages, which contributes to diabetes, obesity, as well as increase in revenue generation. Meanwhile, the financial experts are predicting an additional decline in revenue to minus 25% by December 2022 if the policy is not reviewed. Jide, let's look at the argument put up by the federal government now. They are looking for what is not going to help our health in any way, so to discourage it. They decided,
They like
if you
us
like
so much.
sugar, those things you like, that okay, it's not good for your health, we're going to discourage you from taking it by increasing the tax on it.
I was reading somewhere that Nigeria ranks fourth in the consumption of soft drinks in the world. We are number 4 in the world when it comes to consumption of soft
Really?
drinks. Yes. Although our population plays a part in in all of these numbers, there's no way
You can compare us to Britain now,
there's no way
or
you
South
have
Africa,
this kind of huge
or
population
Ghana, or Togo. Yes,
that definitely when it
our
comes to
population.
this kind of surveys, you just see that Nigeria is up there because our population alone, so the government needs the money that all the money that it can make, and they believe that if they can introduce that tax, that they are going to make more money. But every tax has consequences, because the more the producers of these carbonated drinks increase price, the lower their sales volume will go. There's no way, if you were able to, it's just, if this was being sold at 10 naira before, you suddenly jack the price up to 20 naira.
To discourage.
You've already outstripped some people of the purchasing power for this.
Not everybody will be able to afford.
Yes. So those who will not be able to afford it, they will go off it, they will snub it. That will affect what the producers earn at the end of the day. And the soft drink market, they said in 2016, they made 713 billion. The soft drink subsector of the
713 billion.
Yes, 713 billion dollars. I mean, 713.8 $713.6 million in 2016, $713.6 million. Then it rose to $1.4 billion in 2021. And Nigerians consumed 1.6 billion liters of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite, and Fanta in the same year, that year. So the volume of consumption rose to 1.6 billion liters. That's cumulatively Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite, Biggie, Fanta, and the rest of them. So their own warning is that introducing duty will lead to a drop in sales. For a long time, you saw that they didn't want to increase price. What they did was to go and reduce the size of their bottles so that the people can still be able to afford it. You find that it's a matter I like to drink Coke. But if suddenly the price is beyond my capacity, then you will go off it. They wanted to avoid that. Instead of they now increase the size of the bottle so that you can still feed your hunger for Coke within your resources. So that's what they are saying. So out of the Nigerian manufacturing subsector, 38% of total manufacturing is the manufacture of carbonated drinks like Coca-Cola, like the rest of them. So they also account for 22.5% of manufacturing jobs in our country. So if that sector is not doing well,
if anything, what happens?
They generate 1.5 million jobs. So if something untoward happens in that sector, it will have a ripple effect on the entire manufacturing sector in our country. And that's why they are saying, look, you come up with this, you want to make money, but this will come at a heavy cost.
Okay, Wale, let's look at this industry. And when you look at the decline and when you look at what is happening, at the end of the day, if government, if they take this decision, this might lead to another round of inflation?
Well, I think this sector is one of the most important sectors, in our economy. Man says it contributes about 15% to the GDP of the country, and with about 1.5 million direct and indirect workers linked to these companies. And if you go around the street corners, you see one person selling Coke. That's what he lives on.
You see women.
See children. You see even hawkers. That's what they rely on. Some of them are graduates, so doing holiday job. That's what they. So it's really going to affect a lot of, the argument of the government in terms of, diabetes and all that. I think the government should also be honest to admit that it wants to raise funds, which is legitimate. I'm not against, because knowing how much we pay to service debt, the government needs to be creative on how to raise more funds to finance the budget and all that. But my worry is that when you increase 10 naira per liter, and it comes like a shock, how are they going to, what is the kind of shock absorber that we, expect these companies to use to absorb this kind of a shock? Because in other countries, we'll have seen a kind of gradual increase. Maybe over a period of 6 months, there will have been a kind of discussion. Maybe we'll have started in January. And then you can start with 1 naira, 2 naira. Maybe by now we'll have even had that kind of 10 naira achieved. But when you just bring it once, I think the impact is going to be so great on the people. And this thing is also going to affect children. Because that's their most valuable. The best thing you can do for a child is to buy him a bottle of store drink. If you made his day. So that means that our children will be denied this kind of. So the consequences,
juices,
chocolate, and so the consequences may now may not find a situation where there'll be more imported soft drinks, either smuggled directly or indirectly, and then there'll be adulterated products. bad people, businessmen will capture in on this to go and produce and sell at reduced because of weak institution that we have.
Okay,
And
joining us now via Zoom to shed more light on this is a lawyer and a manager with PwC Nigeria, Emmanuel Akpeme. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel? Emmanuel, can you hear me? Okay, now our producers are trying to... Yes, Emmanuel can hear now.
Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Thank you so much
Emmanuel.
for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you now. Help us make sense of this tax.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
You can so help us make sense of this tax that government has introduced and the impact it will have on the carbonated drink subsector.
Yes.
The more important thing is other small that because there will have been a kind of discussion.
Okay, we are waiting for...
Please, can you hear me, please?
Emmanuel. So, you know...
Emmanuel, we asked you a question. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, then the question is, help us make sense of this new tax that government has introduced and the kind of impact,
increase.
the kind of impact it will have on the carbonated drinks subsector of our manufacturing sector.
Okay, thank you very much, Babajide. So this particular excise duty that was introduced, it was, by way of a background, right? It was introduced by the Finance Act 2021. And by virtue of Section 17 of that particular Finance Act, the excise duty on non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages was introduced. And from that particular provision, it imposes a 10 naira per liter excise duty on non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages. Now, this has been since the inception of the Finance Act 2021. However, there have been no sort of guidelines or regulations with respect to how that particular provision will be implemented. So that is why recently the Minister of Finance had to issue this current guideline, which is the excise duty, non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages regulations 2022. This particular regulation has a commencement date of 12 September 2022, and it's just about implementing that particular provisions of the Finance Act. Now, the truth of the matter is this: the federal government seeks to raise revenue for the country. If you look at the current budget for 2023, you see the deficit, the revenue deficit there. So these are just ways that the government wants to really vamp up or get its revenue for the forthcoming year. However, the issue is about its timing and also how it seeks to raise this particular revenue, and particularly on this particular excise duty. The government has come up to give us two reasons. And as we have also mentioned in the course of our discussion and conversation, it mentioned health reason to check diabetes and the likes, right? Health-related issues. Now, that is a form of sin tax. That is when a tax is imposed to discourage the citizens from participating or engaging in particular kind of behavior. For example, smoking, and in this case now, consumption of sweetened beverages. Now, the issue is, do Nigeria have a diabetic problem, a health issue? Or in another way, do we have a sugar issue? Because if you look at it from data, WHO has come up to say that on an average per annum, you are to consume 9.1 kilogram of sugar per annum. And from data, Nigeria has only a consumption rate of 8 kilogram per annum. This is less than the recommended consumption by the World Health Organization. If you compare this with some other jurisdictions like the UK, for example, has a 30 kilogram consumption per annum, and while the United States of America has about 46 kilogram consumption of sugar per annum. And if you look at it, that in a way makes it reasonable for them to have such excise duty on carbonated drinks and non-alcoholic or sweetened beverages. But in Nigeria, we are yet to even get to the average consumption by WHO, and we are giving it as the basis for taxing that particular product to reduce sugar. So I think there's a need to really make use of data when we are bringing some of this or making some of this justification. Another point I would want to mention is that in some of these advanced countries that have some of this sugar tax or excise duty on carbonated sweetened beverages, the government provides and take care of their health care in those nations, in those countries. However, in Nigeria, you and I, we take care of absolutely everything that relates to our health care. And if you now impose this excise duty that we have an impact on the final consumer, if for any reason the consumer goes on to consume these products and is maybe plagued with obesity or diabetes, it is that same consumer that will spend his or her money to take care of his health. And this will amount to a form of double taxation, because even after paying the increased fee for increased price for the product, he is still taking care of his health. So I see that the issue of taking care of health is something that we need to really look at, because that's justification for introducing this may not fall under that. Now, the point is government want to raise revenue, and so I think we should concentrate on that.
Yes, okay.
However, is this the right time to raise this revenue? Is this the right way to do that? If you see the manufacturing sector, as you have also mentioned, play a key role in the gross domestic product of Nigeria. And if you look at the value chain, it plays so much, there are so many players, so many stakeholders in this value chain. And one of the things that has been plaguing them is the issue of infrastructural challenge, issue of power. We have issue of rising FX scarcity. We have issue of high inflation. We have issues of security issues. Now, this has made this particular sector to have, from data, it is shown that between 2021 and 2022, the profit margin of the manufacturing sector nosedived, right, with about 36% reduction in its profit margin. Now, this is a sector that is having these challenges, and introducing this excise duty may, in the long run, have a negative impact, just as the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has come out to say. Because even if there's an increase in the revenue that we'll get from this excise duty imposition,
all right,
collectively, there may be a negative revenue for the government. Because if you look at
thank you,
VAT
Emmanuel
and
Akwede. Thank you for your intervention.
This particular
tax line services of
indexes
PwC
might
Nigeria.
reduce.
Thank you, Emmanuel. We are out of time. Thank you for your intervention. So, Jude, you can't. Sometimes government will come out with this funny policy that is not backed by data. You can see the comparison between Nigeria and
America around 46%.
Yeah.
We are just around 8%, which is lower than the World Health Organization threshold.
And if you know the number of bitter things we love swallowing, not sugary things.
Yeah.
Because once you are of a certain age, you
Yeah.
start looking for all
Herbs
these
and-
bitter,
all these
it's all
are-
around because we know the health implication.
I am concerned about how government policies are making life unbearable for business people in our country. They are saying that if this policy, if this tax is sustained, it will lead to employee salary reduction. Companies will be forced to reduce salary because they won't earn as much as they used to earn. It will lead to retrenchment. It will lead to increase in prices of goods. You know, so taxes usually have unintended consequences. Before we left, before we allowed Akpeme to go, he was trying to explain that even the government will not earn as much as it
The
thinks
revenue
that it
they are
will
looking
earn.
for,
Yeah, because
everything now is now driven by that revenue.
Counterproductive.
even tax itself thrives on earnings. If you don't earn so much, then it means you are going to pay so little by way of taxation. So government's intention may eventually not even be realized when the atmosphere becomes choked up and these companies are struggling. So many companies have already folded up
I'm
since
telling
the
you,
COVID era.
some are contemplating. they
Yes,
want to
some
fold
are
out
still
at the end of the
contemplating
year.
folding up. Some can't
Because
have
when the
access.
book is not balanced.
No access to foreign exchange to bring
what are
in
they doing in business?
raw material. So some of them are folding up already. Now we are trying to create even more problems for the ones that are still there. So this will have a kind of ripple effect on so many stakeholders and even the ordinary Nigerian. Those people selling soft drink in traffic jams and the rest of the see those women, hardworking people in the sun selling soft drinks in traffic jams. Everyone will be affected at the end of the day.
You have to go. Wale Adoye, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you today. Thank you for coming. And Okulora, that's my chief, the mouthpiece of the people.
Thanks.
In case those that didn't watch last week, that we are now Okulora.
I look for Okunle John.
Yes, the mouthpiece of the people from Delta State.
Yes.
Babajide Otidoju. He's not a chief. Go to his page.
In
You will find
fact,
last week, some will not watch last week because we had a live transmission. We are off-com. But this week, I want to tell you,
that was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago,
Last week. 2 weeks ago.
how time flies.
The former governor of Imo State,
Okay,
our friend, the birthday boy,
okay.
Okorocha.
My people.
Yes, I think he just got to know that I got a chieftaincy title in the Southeast. And he said, you are the Kikero of Nigerian journalism. I'm so happy that you got this traditional title from the Southeast. So maybe eventually
We'll get more.
they will add something else to it.
Yes, sir.
That Madam was not here.
Okay, I won't be part of that campaign.
We leave it there.
She's my friend.
We leave